I got a lot for you today. We're going to go from UAP/UFOs all the way to an individual who was stabbed multiple times and it was ruled a suicide. It's Tinfoil Tuesday.
So if you like exposing truth and dropping truth bombs, then welcome to Tinfoil Tuesday.
I want the truth!
Well, a big shazam to you people. Last week I did a 10 list, just questions that I have, and y'all seem to enjoy that. All right, so today I'm going to stick in the same vein. I'm just going to water hose right at you. A lot of information headed over your direction, and your job is to chase the one you find interesting and let me know what you think. It's Tinfoil Tuesday. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm filming this on Monday afternoon. This morning, all the news cycle was updating, and the idea is this. Warning issued that alien revelations could spark financial crisis. And part of this is from the Bank of England. Over the weekend, the Bank of England said, hey, the U.S. is going to announce alien invasion and alien stuff, and that could affect finances. And I had a lot of people reach out to me and say, Johnny, what's all that about? What is all that about? Let me read just a little bit of this. A financial crisis could be triggered by an announcement that aliens exist, according to Helen McCall, a former policy expert of the Bank of England. McCall told the Times of London that politicians and bankers can't afford to dismiss alien life and wrote to the governor of the Bank of England, urging him to organize a contingency plan in case the White House confirms alien existence. A lot of folks reached out to me and said, Johnny, what do you think? I deep dive this stuff a lot. Summer of 2024, I went hard and I went all summer long reading, and I love seeing what people say and reading congressional testimony and watching documentaries. I love this stuff, and I'm not saying that word strong enough. Love, capital L, love it. But I've joked about this before and a few times with you guys. I believed in UFOs until the government said that the UFOs exist. And so now I'm like, I do know this for certain. There's a lot of folks that see a lot of stuff that is completely unexplained by our current understanding of biology and what humans look like. And we also have a lot of stuff that people see that is unexplained by our current understanding of technology. That's fact. I've talked to y'all a lot about that over the past, but then the government gets involved. I do believe this clearly, that if the government says something's true, I go, I don't know. They wouldn't do that, would they? Would they really use something like this as a smokescreen to hide something else? Yeah, big time. So I was a little bit nonplussed about this. So many people last night said, Johnny, what's going on in my personal life? And I'm like, I was a little bit calm about it. And they're like, are you not wound up? I'm like, nah, I don't know. If the White House says it's true, they're probably covering up something else. So I doubt it. I do believe a lot of things, and I do believe there are some major questions out there. However, that said, third time, if the White House says something, the aliens are there, they're just covering something up. I don't think that's cynical. I think that's a very solid foundation to stand on, given our U.S. history, especially the White House's history of just nonsense and lies and half-truths. Would they take something that's a little mysterious, something that is true? There are some things about UAPs that are true, that there's some things that we have questions about, and use that to mask something else. I would say absolutely. Today's episode is brought to you by you people. No sponsor today. I just want to throw this stuff at you to have a little bit of fun. If you don't mind hitting thumbs up, that would be awesome. All right, let me give you several things to chase. And I want to say this really clearly going into this 3-pack I have for you. Then we're going to get to that suicide situation. I want to say this, it's not cut and dry. There's these 3 areas I'm going to talk about. Some of them are completely benign. Some of these are completely organic. They're just there. But other ones, when you look at a pattern, you're going to end up extrapolating out of that some interesting stuff. Case in point, what about all the politicians and the celebrities and the business people that show up with these black eyes? I pulled this one first, and you can see there, especially with Biden there, it's one eye, it's off to the side, and you're going to see that, and it's called the Black Eye Club, and you're going to see this. Now, what you're seeing here is called subconjunctival bleeding, and you're going to see people dismiss the entire thing and say, all this stuff with the celebrities, it's just subconjunctival bleeding. That's a situation that older folks, the elderly, are really susceptible to. It happens when they strain too hard to go number 2. It's very, very common. It's out of one eye, and it's usually inside of the eye. However, And those are the ones that I showed you a second ago. I'm going to call benign. It just happens to old people. Then you get a whole lot of big, giant shiners, and there's too many of them. There's way too many celebrities that show up with these things, and it's not old people. It's not old people. It's not old people just straining to poop. It's younger people with big, fat, black eyes. I think for me, what's interesting is when Jay Leno showed up with that big one, and he had been rumored to be having some alleged trouble with some shady characters, and it's a consistent pattern among celebrities. They call it the Black Eye Club. You can chase that. Again, I think some of these are organic and people just fall. I was reading a Black Eye thread online, and people were just like, one dude in particular, he said, you know what? He said, I work in heavy construction. I work in house building. I work around tools and stuff, swinging all day, every day. I've been in this 40 years, and I've never seen a true, actual black eye that didn't take place from a fist in a bar fight. We're really good at protecting ourselves, and these celebrities repeatedly and over show up with black eyes, and they go out in public with them and somewhat seem to show them off. Here's Jennifer Lopez, made a public post on her own social media to show hers off. This is Sharon Stone, made a public post to show hers off, and it repeats. The pattern repeats. What do you think about that? The Black Eye Club. Speaking of eyes, how about this one? And this is consistent. It's been going on for decades. The entire phenomenon of celebrities covering up one eye during photo shoots. I think some of these are just being artsy fartsy. I think most of them are dog whistling to show off what's really going on. I don't think it's their choice to do these photo shoots. I think they have to. When they join this club, they have to do it. It's been going on forever, and there's other symbols that they do consistently. We're looking at patterns here. And speaking of patterns, here's an interesting one. It's been on my radar for a couple years now. It's the idea of comedians, and there's a lot of them that do drag. And I want to say this really clearly. I think a lot of these are organic. I don't think there's anything mysterious about Robin Williams doing Mrs. Doubtfire. I thought it was funny. My own sister comes on this channel every now and then and wears a pink hat. It's happened. I think sometimes it's just funny. Sometimes it's just comedy. However, there was an episode of Shay Shay, the Shay Shay podcast that Cat Williams went on, and Shannon Sharp is the host, the former NFL great. And Cat Williams, if you haven't seen it, it caused a big ripple. You can find it in 30 seconds on YouTube. I certainly recommend it. And he does a water hose of information. Two things. One, the first hour is the best hour. You may look at it and go, holy smokes, it's really long. They drink a lot on that, and once they start getting super drunk, it gets a lot less interesting. You'll know when to turn it off. Check out the first 45 to 55 minutes in there, first hour, check it out. But in that, he says a lot of things. Second thing is that I don't know if anybody has ever challenged him on what he actually said. They may say, hey, he got drunk, or hey, he's uneloquent, but no one, to my knowledge, has ever challenged what he said. And in that, he says that black comedians specifically have to go through a thing called a humiliation ritual, which we may talk about in another episode, but a humiliation ritual to get into the club. And one of the things they are required to do is to put on a dress and go be funny and tap dance for the powers that be. I find that to be wild. So we've got the Black Eye Club, the One Eye Close Club, couple other things, and then the idea of black comedians having to be put through a humiliation ritual. Again, I think a lot of it's just funny, and comedians been doing it. Great example is Flip Wilson. I don't think there was anything demonic about that, but the current patterns that we're seeing, I think a lot of it is certainly questionable and possibly worshiping gods of old, gods being little g's. All right, I want to introduce you to this lady. Her name is Ellen Greenberg. I'm not going to chase this for the sake of time. You can deep dive this because it is a deep, deep wormhole to go down. I'm going to read a bunch to you so I get this right. But I think this story is a microcosm or a litmus test of where we're at in America today. I want to get her onto your radar and let those of y'all that like to do research go check this out. Ellen Ray Greenberg was an American woman who died after sustaining 20 stab wounds. Her death was officially ruled a suicide Despite the 20 stab wounds, 10 to her back and neck, and 11 bruises, sparking extensive debate as to whether the cause of death was actually homicide. The mysterious circumstances surrounding the manner of death have prompted significant political activity, legal action, and global media coverage. Now, some people are already typing saying, Johnny, that's from Wikipedia, which it is. I love Wikipedia. I love starting as a starting place when I do deep dives, going and looking at the accepted narrative. I get it. Often, if not always, it is skewed. It is pushed in one direction, but this is what I'm showing you here is the official narrative. You can chase it from there. I'm gonna put up a big graphic here, and you can pause and read all of that if you'd like to, or just jump over to Wikipedia. There it is right there. But here's a little bit about the incident. On January 26th, a blizzard hit Philadelphia, prompting Ellen Greenberg, to leave work and return to her apartment. At approximately 6:40 p.m., Greenberg was pronounced dead as a result of 20 stab wounds, including 10 to her back and neck. There were also 11 bruises. Right arm, abdomen, and right leg. According to the investigation report, Greenberg's body was discovered by her fiance, and the story goes on from there. Here's where it gets wild. The medical examiner's office then changed its conclusion, saying in February that the death was a suicide. The apartment was cleaned and sanitized on January 27th after permission to do so was given from the police. Jason Scotsman, Samuel Goldberg's uncle, and the chairman of the Pennsylvania Judicial Conduct Board in Pennsylvania also entered the apartment that day to retrieve work and personal laptops, phones, and credit cards belonging to both Goldberg and Greenberg. And so it's a wild one. Those of y'all that are sensitive to stuff, I'm going to warn you right now, you may just want to jump off this video right now. It's nothing crazy, but some folks don't want to see what I'm about to show. We good? Next, right here that's from the official. The folks that did the reconstruction of what went on with her body, and that ain't good at all. I want to say this again. She also had to rely on a Philadelphia investigation that has been problematic from the start. He said, this is talking about the research, a cleanup crew destroyed the crime scene before police showed up with a search warrant. So before there was a search warrant, a cleanup crew had come in and scrubbed the entire apartment. That is a wild one. Here's another one. Those are the two that penetrated the skull, and it was ruled a suicide. Now, things have changed. They are relaunching an investigation on this. There's been enough outcry from the public as well as legislators and people that have microphones that they're reopening this. This is from, I believe, Fox News. It says, this is from January. Watch Ellen Greenberg's ex-fiance dodges questions as feds reopen death case of teacher with 23 stab wounds. He refused to answer questions about federal prosecutors moving to investigate Philadelphia teacher's death. There's a lot here. I'm going to say this. I've got a huge question mark. And clearly it's not a homicide. Clearly it's not. There's so many questions. And when I went down the wormhole on this, I just said, you know what? I got to the point this morning where I went, I'm going to lay it out there for y'all and let y'all do your research. Let me know what you find out. Let me know what you think. This is going to be a wild year on this case, and I hope there is some peace for Ellen Greenberg's family, but it's not good. We opened with aliens. We ended with Ellen Greenberg. A lot of questions out there. It's Tinfoil Tuesday. I just want to know why. Why are they doing all this, and why? And why this? And why we have prosecutors closing these cases, and why the White House saying there's going to be aliens? Hey, Candace, why?
You don't get to ask those questions.
Welcome to Tinfoil Tuesday. We hope you sing along.
You want answers?
Diabetes.